The Big Dog Postgame Show is brought to you by Viner X Consulting. We make your company work. And by Rick Jacklich, the big dog himself, at the Jacklich Law Group.
Good evening from Xfinity Center of Maryland. Comeback gets thwarted in the last shot by Holman. Terps go down 58-55. The Michigan State fans still celebrating behind us and to my right. This is the Big Dog Postgame Show. I'm Wayne Viner. That's Mason Viner. Mason, when it got to 7 points, it looked like it was over, and the Terps stormed back. But I'll throw it over here. What'd you see in that comeback?
Yeah, just a team that was not going to give up. They played their hearts out there. They forced that turnover. They get back to the free throw line a couple times. They make their free throws, but Michigan State controlled the game. It was the game Michigan State wanted to play. The Terps were just unable to capitalize on opportunities throughout the game. Missed dunks, missed free throws, and at the end, another Michigan State buzzer beater knocks out the Terps.
Well, the Terps have given their share of buzzer beaters. Anthony Cowan, Melo Trumbull. It's gone the other way. This is the rivalry game at this point. And, boy, you're right. It was Michigan State-style basketball. It was rough. It was ugly. There were bodies all over the place. This is Big Ten basketball. They couldn't even make the joke come true. Nobody got to 60. The game should actually be a draw. Rice played like a pro today.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're just seeing a guy really start to put his entire game together. He was a little off in the first half, took a lot of off-balance shots. I just thought the moment kind of got to Maryland. Something got to Maryland there in the first half. They just did not play a settled brand of basketball. And while this team has played really well in tempo, if you notice, you have shooters kind of leaning into their three-pointers instead of finishing towards the basket. And it kind of compiled as the game went on. You saw them not crash the boards as hard, not close out as hard, and just playing that kind of timid style we've seen it at points this year that's resulted in low scoring, low efficiency basketball, which is not how this team wins games.
They do not. This is a bit of an oddity. Michigan State took Maryland out of their game. Even when they were open, they didn't seem like they were open. They had a dunk, they couldn't finish. Zapala, even though I believe he only had 9 points, seemed to have a career against Julian Reese, who didn't have the juju-type game that he's had all year. This one was an outlier. At times, Derek Queen seemed to try to win the game by himself. That didn't work. A lot of good things still. The fact that they've had to play somebody else's game and still come back. And of course, if the shot that Jacoby Gillespie takes goes in, it's a wild celebration. Not to be. Terps go down 58-55. You'll get a word here from Rick Jacklich, the big dog himself, and the new Viner X. And we will be back at the Xfinity Center in a moment.
So Terp fans, if your family's injured in a car crash, you'd be barking mad not to call Rick and the Big Dogs at the Jacklich Law Group at 855-BIG-DOG-1.
But as you know, Coach, it's not the last win, it's the next win that's so important. And that's why we continue to hustle, continue to work so hard for all of our clients to earn that name, the Big Dogs from the small firm. Just like you do. You get your guys hustling all the time.
That's why we love you, Rick.
And most of all,
Go Terps!
Back on the floor at Xfinity Center, there is one more home game, but between now and then, a trip to Penn State. a trip to Michigan, and then you have Northwestern back here. What do you see for the last few games? Then we're going to talk about Michigan State for a second.
Yeah, you got to finish strong here. The double bye is still in play. Trip to Happy Valley's up next. A place to Maryland has not brought their A game. It's not played well. It's not got up for the game. This is that moment. You know, March is here now, or we'll be here next week. You got to meet the moment. And meeting the moment sometimes means closing out a game. Sometimes it means playing the next game when you have that opportunity, because this time next month you lose a game like that, it's over. So you got to start to continue. And we talked about it with James at the end of the last game. Your win stack has been stopped. You got to come back. You got to finish hard. You got to hit the next play.
21-7 now on the year. Michigan State played outstanding defense. We mentioned Zapala. Holloman hits the last shot. Their guards made enough plays, got to the lane, got open, made enough plays, but their defense, to me, won the game.
I said it on the podcast. You know, Tom Izzo said this, I believe, after their home win against Purdue a couple weeks ago. He doesn't know which guy is going to play well, but somebody in that 10-man rotation is going to play well. Tonight it was Richardson, and then who hit the last shot for Michigan State?
Holloman.
And they just come up big, but how they do it, they went to a no space, almost press man style, no space above it, the handoffs weren't there, everything was hard, and that kind of allows you to take away something from Maryland, because if you notice and you watch these Terps, they're, every once in a while they're, I wouldn't call it lazy, but they're just kind of slow to get up the court, they're slow to get back on defense, and you take advantage of that when you have a team that buys into playing as a team every single play, knowing that that's the only way they come in here to this building and win.
So one thing that worried me about tonight, it is just one game, multiple times Maryland gets it to the star players in the post and they can't beat one guy. And I don't know why. At some point, the frustration of watching a one-on-one matchup when you think you have the better player and they just cannot get away. Maybe it was just tonight. Maryland seemed to step slow, and that last defensive sequence with the steal and then Jacoby Gillespie's making his free throws, a moment there brought great joy to Terpville, but it was not to be. I think that's enough for tonight. It's a rough, choppy Big Ten game, and I miss the free-flowing style that we've had for the past few games. Mason, any final words?
Yeah, definitely not as entertaining of a brand of basketball, but there's just something about this place. This team is never out of games here. They find a way to make it close there at the end, and it's been a long time since we've seen a shot like that go in this building. I mean, it sucks when a team makes that many shots like that against you over a span of, and I know you said we got a couple back at their place, but look, it would have been nice to close that game, because then the whole thing starts to really roll, but not yet.
Not yet.
The games that matter are still in front of us.
They are. James Gist away from the camera. Bruce is away from the camera, still on the injured reserve for the moment. That's Mason. I'm Wayne. Thanks for watching. Michigan State 58, the Terps 55. We will see you after Maryland Northwestern about 10 days from now as the season wraps up. Good evening.